do something. I want every person in this room who considers himself or herself a member of the white race to stand. Right now. Right now. Every person in this room who considers himself or herself a member of the white race. Now, remain standing. Now, remain standing. Now, will every person in this room who considers himself or herself a member of the black race please stand? Up, 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 up. And remain standing. Now, the brown race. Anybody who considers himself or herself a member of the brown race. Now, the yellow race. Now, the red race. Now, look around you, people. Practically everybody's standing. Now, will every person in this room who considers himself or herself a member of the human race please sit down? Now, people, you are all members of the same race, the human race, which started with black women between 300,000. Don't interrupt me, I don't have much time. Now, white folks, you don't like it, but all you are is faded blacks. That's the way it is. Every one of you, if you trace your DNA back far enough, you're going to find that some of your DNA came from Africa. Because we all have the same ancestor back there, every single one of us. And those of you who think you don't have are obviously from outer space. Now, that means that every one of us is a 30th to 50th cousin to every other person in this room. So I want you to turn to the person on your left or your right or behind or in front of you, stick out your hand and say, "Hi, cousin."
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share and also comment. So guys, majority of the black people, they have been experiencing a lot of racism in the Western country. In today's video, I want us to watch this video from a white lady who shocked everyone by condemning racism towards the white people, how the white people, they are showing racism towards the black people. So kindly guys, watch this video till the end, then I'll be back with more comment.
Now, will every person in this room who considers himself or herself a biracial person stand? Don't you stand. Don't you stand. People, we have to get rid of the language of racism. Words are important, people. Words matter. You have to be careful how you use them, and you have to refuse to tolerate these ugly words being used in your presence. Now, make no mistake about this. I've been described as a teacher. I'm not a teacher. Teachers dispense facts and figures so that they can get their kids ready for the end of school testing. I've been called a trainer. You train dogs and horses and members of the military. I don't train people. I'm an educator. The word educator, I don't want to be interrupted anymore. People, the word educator comes from the root duck deuce, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is one who is engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance. Now, in this country, we spend a lot of money on what we call education. It isn't education, it's indoctrination. It takes us 13 years to teach a student, to educate a student, to be ignorant about race, and to support ideas that make this a better country. This is a word for this in my vernacular, since I was raised on a farm, is bullshit. Don't write that down. People, I recognize it when I see it, and that's what we're living with right now. If we were in post-racial society, Donosaurus T. Rump would not be in the White House. He got elected because white people resented having a black man in the White House for 8 years. It's time to face the truth and say the truth, and it's time for women, and all people of color to stop playing defense and defending what they are and go on the offense. We were here first. We don't have to apologize for what we are or for what we do. Now, I know some of you are thinking, boy, is she a bitch? Yes, I am. Now, how many of you women have been called the B word? Look around, fellas. Everybody's heard it. Come up with a new word. Now, how many of you are called that by a male? All right, people, for me, the B word is an acronym for being in total control, honey. And when women are seen in control, the men around them call it the B word. You need to say, you're right, darling, I am. And then you need to whip out your little Lorena Bobbitt fruit knife. Now don't do that, because some of these boys are scared to death. Now some of you are thinking, she doesn't like men. Oh God, do I like men. Oh, Find me one, please, please. Some of my best friends are men. I was married to one for 59 years. When I married him, he looked just like Marlon Brando. He really did. When he died, he looked like Telly Savalas. Lived with me for 59 years. Now, what's your next question? Sorry.
Okay.
Education should be fun.
I'm already cutting out questions. Okay. Let's talk about privilege.
Angela, you want to talk about privilege?
And this goes to you, Jane, first. How did you first become aware? This is a reflective question. How did you first become aware of your own privilege? And how did you first become aware that others had more privilege than you? And I'm going to ask the same of you also.
Oh, you want me to go first?
So you go first.
I never thought of it as white privilege. I just thought if you do the right thing, people will do the right thing where you're concerned. And because I'm white, they did. And they were wrong. Because I've been doing the wrong thing for about 33 years, I did the wrong thing. I thought I was all right. And then I did the blue-eyed, brown-eyed exercise. And I watched a brilliant little blue-eyed white girl turn into a frightened, intimidated, unable to learn child in the space of 15 minutes because I accused her of not being smart enough because she had the wrong color eyes. And I watched 4 dyslexic brown-eyed boys read words they had never been able to read and spell words they had never been able to spell because nobody had ever told them that they could learn to read or spell. But on the day they had brown eyes, it was obvious that the world was theirs. They could do anything. I found out about expectations that day, and I realized that what we have done, what we white folks have done in this country, ever since we got here, is treat people positively or negatively, not on the basis of the color of their skin, but on the basis of our ignorance about skin color, where it comes from and what it causes. This is not about skin color, this is about ignorance. And the answer to ignorance is education. It is not indoctrination. It is not schooling, it is not training, it is education. But you have to have teachers who know better if they're going to teach better. And teachers can only teach what they know. And unfortunately for all of us, we've all been led down the same ugly path of thinking that it's all right to claim privilege when what we should be claiming is ignorance. We've got the wrong word here, people. This problem is white ignorance. And white people are running the show. Now you're going to think she's a traitor to her race. I'm not a traitor to the human race, and that's the only race I see. Make no mistake about that. And as long as we keep on acting as though there are several races, we can have panels like this at which we discuss white privilege instead of discussing white ignorance and deciding to do something about it. We need to start really furnishing education in these schools instead of furnishing indoctrination. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Partially.
All right.
The rest of the question is, so how did you become aware of your own privilege or of others having more privilege than you? You're talking about...
I watched my students.
It was watching the
And
students.
I realized, watching them, that they were exhibiting the behaviors that they were copying from me. They acted hey, my little brown-eyed students, the day they were on the top in that exercise, became me. And it made me sick to my stomach, and it does to this day. I hate to remember that day, because I watched my brown-eyed children we just loved one another in my classroom. We really did. And on that day, I found out that I don't want to be tolerated. Because in that classroom, my kids tolerated me because I'm blue-eyed. The first thing that was said after I told the kids that blue-eyed people aren't as smart as brown-eyed people, a little brown-eyed child in the front row, Debbie Hughes, looked up at me and said, "How come you're the teacher here if you got them blue eyes?" I got a real experience that day, and a real educational experience, people. I found out how I look to people of color. And I have spent the last 50 years trying not to look like that and trying to encourage others to stop it. I'll tell you another thing. Do I have a few more minutes here? My father, at the age of 60, watched the film that the CBC made in my classroom the second year I did the exercise. They sent me a copy of it, and I showed it to my father and my mother. My father was 60 years old, the most honest man, the most moral man I've ever known. I showed him that film. When it was over, he stood up, and in his bib overalls and his blue chambray shirt rolled up to the elbows, he reached in his back pocket, took out his red handkerchief, and with tears in his eyes, he blew his nose and said, "I wish somebody had taught me that when I was 9 years old." You can criticize what I do until the cows come home. And psychologists do until they get smart. I don't listen anymore because my father said, "I wish somebody had taught me that when I was 9 years old." If somebody had taught my father that when he was 9 years old, we would never have had to listen to some of the ridiculous racist remarks that he made. And he never made them again after he watched that film. Don't tell me that you can't change people. Don't tell me that you're too old to change. There isn't a person in this room who is too old to change. White folks, you got to change, because within 30 years, you will be a numerical minority in the United States of America. And you had better pray to whoever you pray for, that people of color are not going to get even with us and treat us the way we have treated them. If you can't think of any other reason for treating people like equal human beings, think of that one. Because what you do today is creating the future. I don't think you want the kind of future that you have provided for people in the present. I may be mistaken. You may not know what's going on. You know what's going on. And if I asked you, if every white person in this room who wants to be treated the way we have treated people of color in this country, if you'd like to be treated that way, all you white folks, if you want that for the rest of your life, please stand. Did you understand the directions? If you're white and you think blacks have got it so good in this country and you want to be treated the way they have been for the rest of your life, just stand up. You know why you aren't standing. You know it's ugly, and you know it's happening, and you know you don't want it to happen to you. So I want to know why you're so willing to allow it for others in this post-racial society. Another question?
Okay, so we're talking about privilege and how you first became aware that others had more privilege than you, and how you might have been aware that you had more privilege than others.
Okay, first of all, I think it is important to emphasize the notion of privilege, but privilege, as Jane pointed out...
How long she thinks this has been going on, this racism against blacks. How long do you think it's been going on? Forever? You're wrong. 500 years.
Yeah.
During the Spanish Inquisition, the people who were running the Spanish Inquisition and killing people because of their religion found out that they killed a whole lot of people who had the right religion. They couldn't tell what their religion is by looking at them. So they decided they had to find another way to identify the people that they were going to kill and enslave, and/or enslave. So they set upon skin color. People, it's only 500 years old. Now think of that. It's only 500 years old. Nobody was born a racist. There is no gene for bigotry. You were not born a racist. You have to be taught to be a racist, and you have to be carefully taught. And if you haven't seen that musical, in which the last song is, you have to be taught to be afraid of people whose skin is a different shade, of people whose eyes are differently made. You have to be carefully taught.
South Pacific.
Yes, South Pacific. You have to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You have to be carefully taught. And that's what we have to do in this country to keep this racism alive. If we want racism to stop, we have to stop teaching racism. In our homes, in our churches, people, Jesus did not look like the little Pillsbury Doughboy. And God is not an old white man with a long gray beard that looks like Charlton Heston playing Moses. And Mary did not have pale skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. Get over it. And do it now. You can make a difference if you choose to, you young people. How many of you have parents, mothers, who are really tired of sending Christmas cards? I'll tell you how to solve that problem. Go down to the store, buy a box of Christmas cards with the Holy Family picture on it. Take it home, color them right. When your mother sends those out this year, she'll never get another Christmas card from most of those people. People, we have to absolutely refuse to tolerate the intolerable. Elie Wiesel said, you must not tolerate the intolerable. And if it's intolerable for you, my cousins, then by the gods of war, it's intolerable for me, and I will not tolerate it. This has gone on long enough. This has gone on long enough. And we have gone along to get along long enough. We need to put a stop to it. And you can. Educators can. Educators can change this. If I can, you can. Get busy. But first,
this is a question that fits right with what you're saying. How can we talk about race and privilege with openness and inclusiveness in a way that prevents people from shutting down?
People can shut down or not, that's up to them.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I am not responsible for how you respond to me. You got it? I flat out don't care. If you learn something in here this evening from this woman who has forgotten more than I'll ever know about racism, and what little I know, if you decide to learn something in here tonight, you'll learn something. If you decide to be mad, you'll be mad. Go ahead, I don't care. That's your problem, not mine. I'm not responsible for how you feel. I am responsible for what I say. I'm responsible for what I do. You're responsible for your response to it. Be responsible for your responses. I'm not responsible for it.
Okay, I want to hear what Angela has to say to this.
Well, I totally agree with Jane.
Okay.
How can I not?
Accept that.
As someone who has spent many years teaching university students, teaching graduate students, I've learned that it makes no sense for me to simply tell my students what it is I think they ought to know. They might learn enough to write a good paper, and then they'll move on, moving in another direction. So I've come to the conclusion that teaching really is about helping people to ask the right questions, to ask the right questions, and to be able to come to the conclusion themselves that there is something really terribly wrong with the way racism has shaped the history of this planet. So I think education is about unleashing the imagination. What teachers, unfortunately, most often do is shut down the imagination and to prevent people from exploring the world in their own ways. And so I think that certainly...
to this group.
So who's first?
Who's first? Oh, I'm first?
Yeah.
Turn off your television. Pick up a book. Go out of your way to meet somebody you would never have wanted to meet before. Look at that person as a cousin and say, I want to know what I can do to make my life less ugly where you're concerned. And never, white people, walk up to the nearest black person and say, what's it like to be black? And never, when I come to speak to your school, or your college or your university, never say to me, I think we should ignore differences and talk about similarities. Similarities are more important than differences. And never let me hear you say, when I see people, I don't see people as black or brown or red or yellow. I just... And how about this one from a teacher? I don't care whether you're black, brown, red, yellow, or green with purple polka dots. I'm going to treat you all alike. How many of you have heard that one out of a teacher? How many of you have ever seen people who are green with purple polka dots? Well, you see, when a teacher lumps all those people in with those who are green with purple polka dots, she's saying you're all like aliens from another planet. She never says white in there. She never says white, because it's all right to see white. How many of you have had a person stand up when you were speaking and say, I just look for the person's heart? People, the next time somebody says that to you, you need to say, if you can see my heart from where you are, you should go down to the local hospital and volunteer to be their X-ray machine. You see, this whole thing is ridiculous. To treat people positively or negatively on the basis of your ignorance about skin color is ridiculous. Now here's something else you can do. Go to my website. A teacher, a real educator, quite frankly, gave me a list of commitments to combat racism. Go to my website, janeelliott.com, take that list, download it, go through it, check yes, those that you have done, check no, those that you haven't done, circle one that you check no, and do it for a month. At the end of the month, take out the paper and make notes on it as to how your life has changed as a result of doing that one thing. There are 18 things on that paper. Then, read the list of typical statements that white folks make that think they aren't racist. Check those that you would be inclined to say that you have heard. Then, read the clarifications of those statements, how they are being heard by the person to whom you're saying them. If you do that, that will change your white awareness. And our problem is white lack of awareness. Make no mistake about this. People of color know about racism. They recognize it when they hear it. And when you say to a person of color, I don't see you black, you ought to have your tongue cut out first. I can't examine your heads, but people, if what you are saying is being perceived as racist, say something else. Perception is everything. If what you are saying is being perceived as racist, change your language. You can do that. If you choose to. You'd better choose to. But you better choose to. There are 18 things on that list of commitments to combat racism. I challenge you to do 3 of them in the next 3 months. It'll change people's attitude toward you and your awareness of the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Angela, call to action. What could they do concretely?
Well, I am a person who has always believed in the power of unity and united struggles. So I would say find some kind of organization, whether it's a cultural organization, a political organization, figure out a way to become a part of a larger community, a community that is larger than your own individual self. But there's some things that individuals can do. And since you asked for 3, that's the first one, join an organization. The second one is, and this holds true for white people as well as for people of color. Whenever you hear a racist comment being offered, call them on it, right there, wherever you are.
That's right.
Don't let it pass. And I would also like to say that it's especially important for us to recognize the differences among different communities of color and to become aware of those struggles. For example, what can Black people do to support the struggle to defend the immigrant rights movement? Why it is absolutely racist to assume that citizenship is equivalent to documents. That you can determine a person's commitment based on a piece of paper that they have or don't have. And especially now during this period, we all have to stand up in support of undocumented immigrants.
Video from our white lady whereby she has come out and condemn racism. She has shocked everyone and telling the white folks to change and not to show racism towards their fellow Black people, because we Black people we have been experiencing a lot of racism in the Western country, and this is to tell you that it has come to a point whereby some of the white folks, they are tired with showing racism towards the Black people. The Black Americans, they have been complaining they are being oppressed. There's a lot of racism to them. These people, they are being given less opportunity, and these people, they are the ones who they have really helped the white folks in America. The Black Americans, they are the ones who build America. So this white lady, she has come out and tell the white folks that they need to change because they're the one who they are showing racism towards the Black Americans. And it is not only the Black Americans, the Black people who they are coming to the Western country, they usually experience a lot of racism. I've had so many cases whereby the white folks, they have showed so many racism towards the Black Americans in the school, in churches, and also in the job, in hospital, in jobs. This is to tell you that there's a lot of racism in the Western country. So this white lady coming out and condemning racism, it is telling a lot, whereby also them, the white folks, they are tired of seeing how the Black people, they are being treated, how the Black people, they are going, the challenges and the difficulties they are going through in the Western country. Because here in Africa, there is so much little cases of white folks complaining about the racism here in Africa, because here in Africa I've never had any cases of African people showing racism to the white folks who they are here. No, I've never had that cases, but we have so many cases whereby the Black people, they are being experiencing some racism. These people, they are being oppressed, they are being given less opportunity. So this is to tell you that this time round now, these people, they need to change, because the Black folks, they are also waking up. They are started to know how these people, they need to treat the Black people, because right now the time of the colonization, it ended, and the Black folks, they are coming together. These people, they are now there is a revolution going on towards the Black folks, and that's why majority of the white folks, they have started to fear the revolution collaboration that it is now going to the black folks, because black people, they are coming together, they are uniting, because these people, they are uniting so that also they can be respected, because in America, the black people, they are the black Americans, they cannot be heard very easily. When you go to the Chinas in United States, when these people, they raise their issues, it is being heard. To the Indians, it is being heard. To the black people, they are not being heard. This is to tell you that these people, it has the black Americans, they have been made to be their cases, they are not being heard. So this is to tell you that the black Americans, they are not important, because the black Americans, they are not speaking one language. Because of that, it has become difficult for them to be heard. But when you see the Chinese and the Indian people, these people, they usually support each other. These people, they always speak one language. But when it comes to the black folks, these people, they are not speaking one language. These people, they are divided. So because of that, it has become difficult also for them to be heard when they are raising their issues in United States. So because of that, I can tell you that we black people, we need also to unite. We need to come together so that also black people can be heard. And also, guys, this white lady also, she has come out and explained how racism towards the black people, it is even right now affecting also the white folks, because we know we are all human. This lady, white lady, she has come out and say we are all human. If we treat our fellow black people very bad, it is like we are treating our cousin. Yeah, it is like we are treating our cousin. It is only different, it is only the color. Yeah, the difference is only the color, but what it is in our body, it is also in the white people body. So the difference, it is just only the outside color, but everything, it is still the same. So if you are treating a black person very bad, just know you are treating your family, your cousin very bad. If you are treating an Indian very bad, it is also you are treating your cousin very bad. So this white woman, he has come out and said that we need to love each other, because the time of treating a fellow human being very bad, it is their time, it is come to an end, whereby we are all human. We need to come together, because we worship one God, we praise one God. So because of that, guys, I'm going to end the video there. Kindly subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like this video, share, and also comment. See you on my next one. Bye bye.